Denver is one of several U.S. cities holding a climate march today. Protesters turning out in the snow and the cold, very different from the heat and humidity here in Washington, D.C. The weather is just one of the many ways Colorado is worlds apart from Washington. I want to bring in Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, a Democrat in a purple state and a region that is getting more red with the recent election. Some Democrats would like to see you, Governor, as the future of the Democratic Party. 100 days into the Trump administration, what is the top thing you hope he will be able to work on with Democrats?
Well, clearly, we've got to find some ways to get people working together. And I think there are a lot of Democrats that want to bring back jobs to the top of the agenda and want to find ways of, especially with people with middle skills, a lot of the factory workers who lost their jobs to outsourcing, how do we get them back engaged and get them into not just jobs, but jobs that lead to better jobs, get them back into professions and careers?
Well, the president will say he's doing just that with some of these regulation rollbacks that he has enacted. Do you see those helping the folks in Colorado?
No, not so much. I mean, Colorado, our unemployment is 2.6%. So right now we're the lowest unemployment in the entire country. And I think it's the lowest we've ever had in the history of the state. So we're doing great. I don't think those regulations, even nationally, I think they may help in isolated cases, but long term, we have to be worried about there could be, unacceptable, unexpected consequences from, when you pull back regulations too far. What you want to get rid of is some of the bureaucracy and the unnecessary kind of burdensome, red tape. But regulations play a valuable role both for business and protecting the people. And I want to make sure that this process is measured and responsible and that it's not going to lead us into more costs and hurt our economy down the road.
I know you spoke with two members of the Trump administration in just the past several days, Secretary of the Interior Ryan Zinke, Attorney General Jeff Sessions. What are you learning or hearing from them?
Well, both of them were very straightforward and very direct, which I really appreciate. Attorney General Sessions very clearly, I mean, he thinks that any kind of increase in drug use in the United States is not good for the country, and this legalizing marijuana he really can't understand, and he's not going to do anything that allows people to think that this is a good idea to go into or a safe time to open a marijuana growing operation or a retail store or something like that. He's very clear on that. And I think in the same way he's very focused on immigration. I don't think he's going to come and deport everybody, but he really wants to send a message that people need to obey these laws and that immigrants who don't have documentation better be should be truly model citizens. I think
so with the growing Hispanic population in Colorado, Governor, do you feel like he is receptive to some of the fear that they may be feeling? And what I'm hearing from you is he wasn't maybe as harsh in some of the rhetoric as we have heard publicly when it comes to immigration.
Right. His rhetoric wasn't harsh, but I wouldn't say he was overly empathetic. I mean, he's a fairly high contrast person where you're either playing by the rules or you're not playing by the rules. And he thinks that, undocumented immigrants who don't have a proper documentation are not playing by the rules. Secretary Zinke, also very direct, and I think in a similar way, he wants to get to the major issues, the major problems, and I think he's like the recent. He made a decision that in the next 120 days they're going to look at a lot of these, Antiquities Act designations as kind of national monuments and reevaluate those. I think the ones that were more controversial. I think he respects what he wants to get to is more local control, better relationship, and a better partnership between the federal government and states. And I think if that's his focus, at least with the Western governors, both Republican and Democrat, there'll be some avenues by which we can work together.
I want you to listen to what Nancy Pelosi said this week about the president.
He has succeeded in one way. He has succeeded in mobilizing the American people against what he's about. He has been proven to be one of the best organizers the Democratic Party has ever had.
Does your party offer anything more to voters than a party opposed to Trump?
Oh, I think that Democrats offer an awful lot of answers. I think Colorado is a good model. Again, U.S. News and World Report called our economy the #1 economy in the country a couple of weeks ago, and yet we hold ourselves to the highest environmental standards, the highest ethical standards. You can have regulations that work. We passed methane regulations to capture any fugitive emissions, any escaping methane, which is much more damaging greenhouse gas than even CO2. And we got the environmental community and the oil and gas industry to work together to create those regulations in a collaborative environment where, in the end, both sides took credit. That's sort of the role that I think Democrats provide, is we can have a strong economy. We don't have to sacrifice jobs in the economy to have cleaner air and cleaner water.
All right, Governor John Hickenlooper, we have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Be sure to check out the